Going on, everybody? John Matrix here. Hope you're all having yourselves a wonderful day wherever you're at, whenever you're watching this. We're jumping into another episode of The End and the Death 3 by DQVO. Links, as always, will be down below in the description to the original video without my commentary and reaction, and to DQVO's channel. So please do me a favor. If you enjoy this video, go over to his channel. Be sure to hit the like on it. Check out his content. And if you enjoy his content that he puts out there, he makes a lot of great stuff for the 40k universe. Does a lot of good voiceover work. Excuse me. So check out his content. If you enjoy it, hit that sub button on his channel. Show him some love. Check out his Patreon. Check out any kind of YouTube membership benefits and stuff like that he's got going on, if you would like to take your support for his channel to the next level. But please do me a favor, go over there and do that. Check out his stuff. He makes a lot of great videos, and you definitely deserve some love. If you'd like to join us when I do these reactions live, as I am right now, there is a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to the YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I have to offer. So you can check those out if you'd like to take your support for my channel to the next level. But regardless, I just appreciate you guys taking the time to come out, hang out, watch the video. I greatly appreciate that you do so. If you enjoy it, consider leaving a like and a sub on my channel, as it helps me and the channel grow, and it lets me and the YouTube algorithm gods know that you enjoy this kind of content and you would like to see some more. So with all the plugs done, said, and over with, get into the video here. Again, this is the next episode, part 8 in the End of the Death 3. I mean, it wasn't looking very good for the Emperor in round 7 here. We're getting into round 8 of this 12-round bout, and it looks like the Emperor might be making a little bit of a comeback here. So let's see what happens. The End in the Death 3. Jan Abnett. The Emperor hears the message.
A final thread of hope remains for the last loyal sons of man. The voice calls across the conflagrant dominions and ruinous wastes of the Outer Palace, where few survive to heed it.
Like right now, I feel like the Emperor is like, you know, pulling a Goku and just holding his arms up and just, you know, give me your energy for, you know, the Super Ball. I forget what it's called that he makes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's where we're at with the Emperor. He's like, give me your energy. Throw it out.
It rings across the inferno of the Palatine, the greatest slaughter field in human history, where the last remaining sons and daughters of the Imperium fight on in splintered cohorts against the overwhelming hosts of the traitor foe, cut off, surrounded, their lines disintegrating as fast as their chances. For many of them, it is the last thing they will ever hear. It echoes through sundered eternity, and in past that gate, and into the final fortress, the Sanctum Imperialis, which has become the final feasting place of carnage, and no sanctum of any kind. This was the inviolable place, the bright citadel built to outlast time and history, and outlive dreams and the schemes of men. It was supposed to stand forever. Since the birth of the Imperium, the children of Terra have imagined many disasters and dangers, and foreseen calamities that they would have to guard against. But never did they conceive that the seat of empire itself could be swept away. Not even when the siege began. It would hold. It would endure, no matter what. But now it falls. Invaded from within and from without, its golden halls and soaring chambers set ablaze and teeming with the conquering regiments of ruin. The voice rings out here too, but most of those to whom it speaks are too busy dying to hear its words. It echoes across Terra itself, as the blazing throne world plunges into the maw of the warp, its material form digested by the alchemy of the empiric forces that envelop it. It echoes across firestorm continents and evaporated oceans, through devastated cities and wasteland states, and is heard by those scant pockets of resistance that remain, defying the swarming foe to the last. Many of those who hear it, in the midst of cataclysm, dismiss it as a wishful fantasy, or another of the endless lies of chaos. The voice is very fragile. It offers hope, but nothing else. No promise of salvation or respite, or word of victory reclaimed. Few, if any, ever identify the messenger or learn the name of Hope's envoy. They know it simply as the Praetorian's ultimate command. Dawn's last words to the defenders of Terra. The final wall that he is able to build to keep them safe. A wall of words alone, for all the solid walls of stone and steel he raised are perished and overthrown. It is an idea of resistance, nothing more. To some who hear it, like Fafnir Ran and Zephon Sorrowbringer at Lost Asgard, it is more than they ever dreamed to hear again. The frail hope it brings far exceeds anything they thought they would ever hear in what remained of their lives, for they had accepted death and consigned themselves long since.
Man, what a poetic opening, right? I was kind of looking for a spot to really pause there, but like, very kind of poetic opening to this. The music and, you know, the passion he's giving here and the reading he's doing. But I mean, yeah, when you think about it, right? Like, a lot of the loyalists, this is looking like it's the end. The homeworld is under siege. There's demons and your brothers that have been turned and just slaughter everywhere. And it's, yeah, just looking like this is going to be it. This is the last stand of humanity. And so they're just fighting to the bitter end. I mean, yeah, like I said, very poetic opening.
It puts strength back into their arms and power into their blows as they and those few living souls still standing with them oppose the overwhelming tide that has washed any trace of Asgard Fortress away. None expect to live to see the hope realized. The voice is just an inspiring comfort as they strive to negotiate the highest prices for their lives. To others, like Maximus Thane in the splintered plazas of the inner palace, assailed from all quarters by baying desecrators and the deluge of rout, it is a bitter, heartbreaking call that has come far too late. To others, like Archimus, second of that name, in the field command of the Palatine catastrophe, or the seniors of the war court in the besieged and smoke-choked hegemon, it is a final, tantalizing promise that makes them turn to their charts and cogitators one last time, and search for one last ploy, or counter-move, or gambit that could, as by some miracle, overthrow the incontrovertible predictions of defeat their data has been producing for hours. Even at the very source of the voice, at the desolate Black Mansion, hope is dying. Stillborn, for the archenemy has heard the calls too, and turns towards its source. The hosts of Chaos and Neverborn, offended by the words, emerge from the horizon's smoke, feral banners high, and begin to converge across the endless tracts of mud, to crush Agatha's last redoubt and silence it. She sees them coming, from every point that her compass can no longer identify, and orders her gun lines to load and prepare. War makes noise. Its death song is deafening. Across the territories of its madness, the voice is, for the most part, not heard at all, for it is drowned out by the booming hymn of the Red, or it is lost in the soughing whispers of Nevinus, which have been a constant murmur since the war began, and now rise to a crescendo. The Neverborn whispers are incandescent with outrage. There is nothing, nothing that enrages them more than to see the generous gifts of chaos shunned or spurned.
The
To
generous
witness
gift
the
of chaos.
bloodlit crown, the greatest honor that chaos can bestow, rejected is an insult that fires them with rancor. To see it abused as a weapon, its generosity defiled, turns the whispers into shrieks.
So it's interesting, right? So it's also almost kind of like through how do I want to put this? So it's like, you know, Horus obviously is trying to think of how I want to word this. But essentially through Horus, the Chaos Gods are acting. And so it's almost like the Chaos Gods through Horus are kind of like with this crown extending almost like a peace offering to the Emperor. This is what it seems like. I'm kind of interpreting, you know, what he's saying. This is where my mind is going. But like Chaos through Horus is almost like extending a peace offering to the Emperor and saying, here, take this crown. You can join us and, you know, be our kind of like agent or whatever in this realm. And we'll let you live and you can rule the Imperium. Because they'll eventually like take their powers away from Horus. And I mean, think about the Emperor with his already great power, then also enhanced even more by the Chaos Gods, if they would want to do that, you know? So that's kind of almost how I'm interpreting this. And then so him rejecting it in the way that he did at the end by basically using it as a weapon to attack Horus has essentially enraged them further. That's kind of how I'm interpreting this at the moment.
The Emperor hears the voice. Though the Neverness storm rages around the walls of the Lupercal court, it is a tiny thing. One grain of sand in a desert storm. One murmur among a trillion screams. It is not enough. Nothing like enough. It is not the shield of humanity that will fortify him to triumph or replenish his ravaged body. But it is enough to allow him to stand. The bloody, bloodlit crown in his hand. It is enough to force his first found son into blind fury. The master of mankind has lost, but he can yet deprive Horus of his triumph. He will force his son to kill him, for better the death and loss of everything than eternity at his side as a grinning puppet regent of the old four.
And again, I kind of said this in the last video too, right? Is this also a situation where the Emperor, knowing, you know, he's a perpetual, etc., does he truly want Horus to kill him so he can be resurrected and then prepare more, better, etc., when he comes back with, you know, whatever knowledge he has from this and do things better? You know? Can he die and turn this whole scenario into a learning experience and then try to essentially start over, reunify humanity again, try to set out into the stars again with another great crusade, do it in a different way? Is that like what his ultimate backup plan for this would be? You know?
You put your face back on. The front of your skull is so ruptured and wrenched open, like a split fruit or the husk of a seed. You fear for a moment that the power inside you, the power that you have become, will spill out of the cracked shell of the human you once were, or that some new and still more terrible form of you will escape from your human rind. You maintain your physical integrity. You push the hinged open part of your skull back into place.
Jesus.
Reknit the bones, reform the muscles and the flesh, and heal the skin, unblemished. The severed dermal tubes and pipes across your scalp and cheek regrow like the creeping roots of trees, and resocket themselves with a sibilant hiss of steam and whir of machined connectors. You repair yourself, and you maintain your mental composure despite the indignity of your father's underhand assault. You are strong. You are Horus Lupercal. You reflect that your father's uncompromising defiance is quite admirable. It is who he is. He has not relented once in his life, and for most of yours, you have worshipped that fortitude. His steadfast mien is what made him great even when you hated him. His unwavering strength is the very reason you love him and despise him. You are his son, so you have inherited his character and his traits. This is reassuring. If he is strong, then so are you. So you will not give up either. You will not bend or break. You will remain resolute and patient. Those hallmarks of a truly great king, and not give in to the homicidal coal of anger that burns in your heart. The impulse to shred him apart in a welter of blood for his insolent perfidy. That would be too easy. Too weak. The act of a child. You will deny him the satisfaction of making you snap, and deprive him absolutely of the Pyrrhic victory he seeks. You will not give him the death he wants. You will not cheat yourself. You will make him accept the fate you have ordained. You rise.
And again, this is like diving further into his ego of just it just seems like Horus is just stuck in this I need to prove myself right over him attitude, no matter what. And the more the Emperor resists, the more it's driving him into that. Which, again, seemingly knowing that the Emperor eventually kills him seems to be like the downfall. And again, I mean, this is another kind of what if scenario question, right? Is like, what if Horus actually went through and just killed the Emperor now? Would chaos, would the gods take that power back from him, release him, and he return, to normal? Again, if the Emperor is able to resurrect, if he's that kind of perpetual, if he's able to resurrect at some point in time, would it then also be a situation where eventually, right, like he could resurrect and then, I don't know, like Horus could understand further what the Emperor is trying to accomplish and the great enemy that they face, and could they then be united in greater cause and understanding of these things, and find a better way to fight chaos? Is that like a what if thing that could happen? Or because again, that whole vision that Alfarius, I believe, had, where the two fates are that either the Emperor beats Horus and gets on the throne, like what ends up happening, or that Horus wins, but Horus wins, eventually gets released, regrets what happens, and ends up destroying chaos, but in so also doing destroys humanity, kind of a thing, if I remember correctly. So I don't know, but it would be interesting to, like, again, play out like that what if scenario of what would have happened if Horus had let go of this need to prove himself to his father, or need to prove that he is right, to the Emperor, and his way is the right way, kind of thing, and just killed him. Like, what would happen?
He has recovered his war sword. He must have been feigning before, because he stands unaided and displays some vitality of body and spirit that seemed previously to have drained from him. He has the bloodlit crown. He raises it in his claws and shatters it so you can watch it break.
I can make another,
you tell him.
I can make 1,000 more. I can make as many as I need to make until you are too weak to shake them off your brow.
You tell him you can take his pain away. For only pain awaits him if he persists with this. You can spare him that pain, as he never spared you yours. You can tell he thinks that you know nothing of pain. On the contrary, Father, I have been the surrogate of your pain. I was born to channel it, just like all my brothers. We were made to bear your pain for you and suffer it on your behalf. One by one, we have all discovered this. Some, like Ferrus, understood it too late. Some, like Conrad, are broken by it, or are driven into madness to escape it, like Lorgar or Fulgrim. Some, it is compressed to the dullest metal, like Perturabo or Rogel. Some flee from it, like Russ or Jagatai, hoping they can outrun it. Some, like Magnus and Rabute, strive in vain to please you, so that you might take the pain away. Some, like poor, naive Sanguinius, think they can spare you by accepting it completely.
Only I have defied you.
Like I didn't mention anger on there, I think.
Only I have turned and said that I reject it, for it is no way a father should treat his sons. Only I have the strength to condemn you and return the gift you cursed us with. You should be proud of me, for I alone have exceeded your wildest expectations.
He is not listening. The father, it seems, cannot bear to hear when his son enumerates his failings. Will you be the same when the time comes and your sons turn to you with their discontents? Not the sons you have, for they, save one, have embraced your outlook and would never think to question your decisions.
My man Loken.
They are but drones, toys of war, sired only to fight and not to think. So they will simply do your bidding and never form an opinion that matters. No, the sons you have yet to father. The pantheon of Primarch sons and daughters too, that you will sire and bring into the world. Your never-born children of ageless wisdom and endless power, who will rule the provinces and dimensions of your realm until the stars go out. They will...
It's crazy just like how far his illusion's starting to go now, of how, like, yeah, he's gonna, you know, have an enduring, unending line that's gonna rule the universe until the heat death of the universe, you know?
Will be transcendent, and they will supplant the boorish, single-minded simpletons who were spawned from your genetics and currently call themselves your sons.
And to think that he can do all these things better than the Emperor, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so interesting. And again, I'm sure most of this is just the chaos influence clouding him.
Their time and their purpose is done. The dynasty of sons and daughters you will nurture after this will be sublime wonders, and you will love every one of them. Of course you will listen when they raise complaint, for they will be your equals and your blood, and you will gladly respect all issues they might bring to you. Though there will be none to answer, ever. No child of yours will ever confront
It's
you.
gonna be perfect,
for
every single one of them.
You will never give them cause. You will never make errors. You will be perfect.
Right.
Make no mistakes. That's what your father taught you, and it's the only thing he ever taught you that you intend to honor. Starting now, you will not give him long enough to recover further. You attack him directly and without compromise. You stride directly towards him and swing your maul with such force the head of it produces a sonic boom. He avoids it, just, and thrusts with his warsword. The blade splits your refractors and slides deep into your belly. You let it. He wrenches it out and manages to backstep fast enough to avoid the swipe of your talon. He ducks aside and slices with his sword, cleaving your refractors a second time and hacking almost a third of the way into your torso, just above the hip. You let him. He pulls the blade free and circles you, a feint, then another, then a superb thrust that drives the warsword through your central body mass. You let him. You draw the warp into you so that he can see it. You need to make him understand, for he does not seem to have grasped it yet.
I would like to honestly, like, it's interesting hearing all this from, like, Horus's perspective. I almost wish we would also get a telling of this from the Emperor's perspective and really see his thoughts, what's going on in his mind during this process. You know, does he see himself as fighting Horus, or is he seeing himself as fighting against the Chaos Gods? And does he even think there's a chance of winning? You know, what's his plan behind this? Is he, like, again, like, really trying to get them to kill him? Does he understand? Like, I don't know. I would love to see, like, this same story retold in these same moments from the Emperor's perspective, and, like, what he's thinking, what he's trying to accomplish, what he's trying to do, and how he feels at the various moments. You know, does he feel like he still has a chance? Is it all going, you know, towards what his plan is, et cetera, et cetera? I think that would it'd just be interesting.
Despite that acclaimed wisdom he boasts of, your power is infinite. His is not. No matter how many times he gets back up to renew the fight for another desperate go-around, he is merely postponing the inevitable. He is a warp-attuned creature of great power
Which makes me wonder, right? Like, I really do wonder if they ever truly bring, like, the Emperor back, if they're going to do that at that point. Like, if the Emperor ever truly returns to lead the Imperium again, will we actually start to get things from his perspective? Will we get more of an insight to his great plan, if there really was a great plan, you know, and what he's trying to accomplish and do? Because, I mean, like, think about it. Like, if he, like, truly ever dies on the throne and resurrects and come back in a mortal form, or just somehow comes back in a mortal form, right? Like, and, you know, the Grey Knights don't end up actually going after him and trying to kill him or whatever because he's the Dark King, or, you know, whatever, etc. Like, at that point, the jig is up as far as chaos goes. Everyone knows about chaos. So would he then kind of reveal his intentions to, like, Gilliman and any of the Primarchs who are back and have returned at that point, and, you know, what he wants to do with the Imperium, and what would he do to kind of try to clean up the state of the Imperium, being that they've essentially turned him into a god and a religion, which is far from what he wanted. You know what I mean? To me, they would only bring the Emperor back in some end times type scenario. I mean, they could, right? They could eventually build up towards an end time scenario in 40k like they had before in fantasy. But I mean, I don't know if 40k really kind of needs a reset like that, right? I mean, I guess they could do that if they wanted to, but why would they, right? Unless they're wanting to expand the 40k universe greater in some way. Who knows? I don't know. But I mean, yeah, it would just be interesting to see how that would happen, and if we would ever get like more of a glimpse into the Emperor's plan. You know, I mean, if you think about it, right, this could all just be what if they pull a this is all a dream kind of a thing, and this is actually just a vision that the Emperor's been having of how things could plan out, and they end up retconning, and we're still back at the beginning of the Great Crusade, right at the end of him, you know, uniting Terra and heading to Mars, and you know, getting the alliance with the Adeptus Mechanicus, you know, etc. What if that ends up being the big twist, that this was all just him seeing a long played out vision, and now he's going to you know, do things differently, try things differently, etc. Everyone would hate that, right? Everyone would be like, give me a break. But who knows? It could be something that they could easily do. It's not with, you know, it's definitely in the realm of possibility. And, you know, in Games Workshop and how they retcon stuff, you know, who knows? You know? Because at the end of the day, or Games Workshop tabletop game, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Any mortal standards, and rightly has been feared his entire life. But his great strength is finite. You are an infinite being of the infinite warp. Your power will never run out, and can never be sapped, no matter how many or how grievous the injuries he inflicts upon you. You cannot be killed. This contest was over before it began. It was superfluous. You only permitted the fight to take place at all because he seemed to need it. It was all for show, a demonstration of your newfound state, a symbolic ritual act to consecrate your reign. You fight only to wear him down to nothing, until he is rendered entirely helpless and subject to your will. Surely he sees that now. The pair of you circle. He strikes at you again, then again. 1,000 thrusts with his sword, 1,000 raking blows with his claws. Each one dapples the floor with your blood. You let them all land. You let the minutes pass, the hours, the wounds. For every...
I mean, this is kind of like a Geek Chad moment here for Horus, right? Where he's just like standing there letting it happen, and he's just healing through it because it doesn't really matter, you know?
2 or 3 blows he lands, you hammer with your maul, or tear with your talon. Some of these strikes land, but most are simply thrown to make him duck and dodge, weave and retreat. You are eroding his strength, his stamina, and his will. As he begins to slow, you find yourself pulling blows that would have killed him. No death today. No death for him. No escape to the freedom of agonized oblivion from the fate you have wrought to contain him. Still you circle, filling the court with the ring of steel and the breathless gasps of his effort. The contest has become pure ceremony, pure spectacle, a rite of sacrifice to tear out his will and offer it to the gods. It has lasted 1,000 years already. It will last another 1,000, another 10,000, another 1,000,000, if needs be. You have all the time you need. His fatigue begins to hang from him like a cloak of lead, bowing his shoulders and dragging his steps. You can see the misery in his eyes, the curdling, thickening exhaustion. He has tried everything, to no avail. You are letting him see the wounds he scores upon you, and the indifference with which you regard them. You are letting him verify the implacable nature of your immortality. It is not like his. His can be ended. Yours cannot. You control
Sure
your
about that?
rage. You bite back physical pain, for it is transient. And you let go of any resentment, for it serves no purpose. He bruised you when he first arrived and seemed to look through you. It hurt when he would not acknowledge you. You are past that now. You have been maturing all this time, and the stages of your duel have allowed you to learn and grow into your new self. You are calm and sanguine. You understand now that when he came to your court, he ignored you because he was scared. He hurt you because he didn't know what else to do. He did not acknowledge you because you were no longer you, and he did not recognize you. He saw what you had become, a fathomless power that he could not compete with, and he lashed out in petty ways to wound you, like any frightened soul, cornered by the absolute. You are past that now. You have become one with the divinity invested in you, and he has lost. It is not your father's power. It's how you grind it out of him until he begs you to relent.
Definitely a different
He tries to
take
melt
on that
the
there.
deck, to blow out the entire floor and cast you down through the levels of the ship. You do not fall, for everything in this place obeys your will, including the very air that holds you up, and gravity, which is anxious not to offend you. With your mind, you wrench up one of the 5 thrones from its foundation. It was the one you prepared for the angel. He will not be needing it. You throw it at your father. His ailing willpower swells and suffuses his blade, and he demolishes the throne into a million fragments with a frantic slice of his sword. You pluck up the thrones intended for Constantine and Rogel too. They will not be required either, for the 2 thrones will suffice. With the last shred of his will, he annihilates Constantine's throne in mid-air before it can smash into him. He has nothing.
It's interesting how he set aside all these thrones for the people he cares about, thinking that they would just, see his way and eventually turn to his will and just let Horus rule and do whatever. I don't know. The deluded fantasy,
Thing left to stop Rogel's. He disappears beneath its granite bulk, mashed backwards and crushed into the deck. The rubble of the throne, some pieces weighing a ton or more, heaps upon him like a cairn. When you send them flying with your mind, he does not move. He lies flat, like the recumbent effigy of a king on the lid of a tomb, swathed in dust. He is barely breathing. You pause to fashion a new crown in your hand. As the blood-like threads weave and form between your talons' claws, you step forward. Reality splits open in your path, and 2 men slither out of the material tear like newborn lambs from an amniotic sac.
What?
An odd, belated arrival. The pair of them are just human. They steam with immaterial vapor, and they are wet with thawing interstitial ice.
What?
They stink of the distances of empiric space, as though their journey has been wayward and long. From
2 random guys just get yoinked from somewhere random in the universe and just brought here in the middle of this fight? That would almost be kind of hilarious.
one end of time to the other. Have they come to kneel at your feet? They are both dazed, disorientated, confused by the abruptness of their arrival after a voyage so long. They look up at you. An instant of recognition. A fleeting moment of shock as they realize where they are.
I mean, yeah.
You see the sudden and...
Can you imagine that? Could you just imagine being some random dude on some random planet that might not even actually be involved in the fighting or war or what's going on? They might not even know what's happening. And you just get yoinked from your daily life and then like brought here and it's like, oh, what? What the hell? This is the Emperor and he's on the floor bleeding to death and here's Horus and it looks like they've been fighting. Like, What the hell did I just get brought into?
Utter terror in their eyes, and know that it is fully justified. They have made a tragic mistake of navigation and a colossal error of judgment. You feel sorry for them.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting episode. I mean, first off, links will be down below in the description as always to the original video without my commentary and reaction, and to DKVO's channel. Please do me a favor. Go check out his channel. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, give it a like. He makes a lot of great voiceover videos like this, 40k readings, whatever you want to call it, on his channel for different series and stuff like that from the books. So check out his stuff. If you enjoy it, hit that sub button. But yeah, check out his Patreon, check out his membership stuff if he's got any of that going on, any kind of sponsorship stuff going on. If you want to take your support for his channel to the next level, please do me the favor, go over there and check him out. But yeah, like the first almost, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes of this was like a very kind of poetic opening of like humanity seemingly like last stand against chaos, and then it almost kind of it was like a two-part view of like, you know, humanity itself and all of the normal humans fighting and trying to defend themselves, as well as the space marines fighting to defend themselves against all of the hordes of chaos and the Neverborn, etc., etc. You know, while also at the same time it being brought down to the fight between Horus and the Emperor, and you know, the symbology of essentially whoever wins that fight, you know, determines the fate of humanity, you know, as well. So very poetic kind of opening to it, and then it just got into really just essentially what seems to be the almost futile efforts of the Emperor at this point fighting Horus. You know, the Emperor had regained enough strength to be able to fight back, and Horus basically for the most part seemingly just sat there and just took the blows and healed from them, basically just showing the Emperor at this point like there's nothing you can really do. So I mean, yeah, this was part 8 of the 12-part episode, and then the end of it with some people just appearing out of nowhere. What does this mean? Who are these people? What does this mean? You know what I'm saying? And I'm waiting for Loken to show up. I feel like that's what's going to be kind of somewhat of what turns the tide. I feel like Loken somehow in some way is going to get through to like the remnants of Horus's humanity and show Horus how far he's fallen, and then Horus will have some kind of realization or something and understand. He'll come to some kind of understanding, or at least in that moment will drop his guard and give the Emperor the opening he needs to actually do something, you know, and actually have some kind of greater impact against Horus. So I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll see. So again, I believe this is a 12-part series, if I remember correctly. This was episode 8. So I mean, we've got what, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We got 4 more episodes left, and we'll be done with the Death in the End series. So but yeah, if you enjoyed this video with my commentary and reaction, consider leaving a like and a sub. It helps me and the channel grow. Let the YouTube algorithm gods know that you enjoy this kind of content and you want to see some more. I greatly appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out, watching the video. If you are still watching here at the very end, it means a lot. I greatly appreciate it. If you want to see more 40k reaction videos, there's a playlist down below in the comments, so you can go check that out. And you know, check out any other kind of 40k videos that I have if you want to watch some more that would interest you. If you'd like to join us when I do these reactions live, there's a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I have to offer. So you can check that out if you want to take your support from my channel to the next level. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful day. See you on the next one.